Loki. Isn't he gorgeous? He's a very, very, very unusual outside the box Persian. You wouldn't know it if he's not your typical. Look at him. The size, the beauty. When I first saw Loki, I thought he was a ragamuffin because he looks so different from a regular Persian. But no, he's got papers for being a Persian. So his particular breeder is doing this big-headed, beautiful, beautiful temperament Persian cat. Anyway, Loki's service request is called the Velvet Lion Cut. So the velvet is the length and the lion cut is the pattern. The velvet blade that I use is the 7F, but you can also switch to like a 4F if you wanted to. Get the same kind of velvet. The 4 would be a little bit longer, right? Start with a little bit of face trim. Ear tips. Persians usually automatically come with a little face trim, so this is all part of that. Tip the ears. That. There. There. Little thinning chairs. Waka waka. You look marvelous. He's like, I know. Let's get that out of the way. God, he's gorgeous. Nails? Yipper. Let's get those done. He doesn't get perfect paws. That just means you leave the toe tufts natural. Waka waka. So how's everyone doing in YouTube land? Are you all set for Snowmageddon? Coming to a town near you in America? We're in the 15 to 35 inch category. Oh my god. Hello. 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 Yeah. He was bred for this temperament. Buku box for this one, right? Anyone want to take a guess at how much this guy cost from his breeder? Let's start with, I don't know, $500, and let's go up to the range of $5,000. Where do you think this cat was? Between $500 and $5,000, right? Anyone want to take a guess? He's absolutely gorgeous. Higher. You're about halfway there, if that's... You're about halfway. Is anyone? Close. Three. Yeah. Okay. 3,000. That was. I don't know. Look, Loki, are you taking a nap? He's like, no. Nah. That's about right. If you're looking for a high quality, high spec, beautiful temperament, purebred cat with a incredible pedigree, yeah, that's about right. Yipper. There's different tiers that you can buy into as for a pet, right? All right, let's pick up the Fuzzy Fix is what we're going to use. Blue Wave is what it's called. You can get these on Amazon for about $99. If you want the comb attachments, you're going to have to pay more. But and then the blade is called a 7F wall competition, right? The forbidden blade. Most groomers would be petrified and terrified to use this on a cat, right? But it's used all the time for dog grooming, right? Mm-hmm. 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 So velvet is the length and the lion is the pattern. Yeah. He's pretty much a one-note pony. You're not going to see any other reaction from him other than what you see now, right? He's a little bit of a Stepford cat. That's what I call it. He's a little Stepford. That means he's a little maybe too perfect. Some breeders can just go a little bit too far to the left when it comes to trying to get that perfect temperament. Yeah. He's a little Stepfordish. Wow. Wow. Alright, here we go. So who's ready for the big snowstorm? We'll see what happens, right? It's supposed to happen tonight. See what happens. That's the calmest. Yeah, he was. It is spiritual, actually. That sound that you hear is actually gospel music from a band called Gizzy. They're like a trio from Zimbabwe. I play that music to help clear the energy of my salon. Yeah. And we have a lion theme, African theme to our salon as well. So we named our salon after the lion cut, which is what we specialize in, right? Right out of Africa. Sometimes we'll switch that out and switch Insane Gizzy to like Lady Smith Black Mambozo. You know, there's lots of really great bands. I would love to get some new house music, but that you're listening to has been our house music since 2011. Yeah. Yipper. Do I have the soundtrack to The Lion King? I don't think so. And it's not all African, so. And voila. 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 Alright. It is, the clipper is the clipper is called the Fuzzy Fix. Blue Wave is the name of it. They have a bunch of different clippers, but the Blue Wave is by far the most amazing clipper, in my opinion, that they have, right? It's actually the holy grail for the reverse lion. Does anyone know what the reverse lion is? If you're a groomer, you might have a clue. Who knows the answer? Who knows the answer to what is a reverse lion? Anybody? If you know the answer, then you are probably a groomer. Otherwise, you probably have no idea. Are you confused, Tess, or are you trying to make a false statement? This cat is not under anesthesia. Loki, can you say hi to these people and tell them they need to get a grip? He's like, get a grip, people. Stop interrupting my spa day. Is he sleeping? No. Can the blade be used for short hair? Yeah. Yeah, all the time. I do velvet cuts on short hair cats all the time. No, he's not. Like I said before, sometimes breeders go a little bit too far when they're doing their breeding and getting that perfect temperament. So he's a little Stepfordish. You know what I mean? I think he's beautiful. I know he's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know what his personality is like at home. Well, thank you. Ah. Loki. Loki. Which means, doesn't that mean crazy? I think it means crazy. Loki. So, the actual initial pre-cut, yeah, it's about 15 minutes is all it takes to get a cut put in a lion cut, right? Doesn't take long at all. I'm using a bed to help support him so I can get to these tricky bits. Not every cat is going to be like, yeah, sure. Let's get those boots in. They're going to try every way to get out of that, but that's why I work with beds. It helps to support their body and get their body in a particular position where I can access all of these tricky bits, right? It's almost like an alternative to lap grooming. You did it. You did it. You did it. Yes, I used to be a dog groomer. But I don't know, was it 3 or 5 years into dog grooming, I realized that my career as a dog groomer was going down the toilet because my chronic fatigue that was getting worse and worse and worse by the day was interfering with me being able to just groom dogs. Little did I know that the reason that was happening was because I had Lyme disease, which then caused a secondary called fibromyalgia. I didn't know. I don't think a lot of doctors knew back then that if you had Lyme, it could cause fibromyalgia, right? The closest thing I can explain to what fibromyalgia is for some people, it's almost like an arthritis of the muscles. You just get really fatigued really fast. right? At the time when I was a dog groomer and I didn't know I had fibromyalgia, I'd be walking around with like lead weight all over my body. Each arm felt like an extra 50 pounds, 50 pounds. My back felt like I was holding 200 extra pounds. My legs, it was really bad, right? So once I realized what it was that I had to make a decision as far as what I was going to do going forward, right? So I decided it would probably be in my best interest to look for more cat clients. Why? Because when I groomed cats, they didn't fatigue me. They didn't make me tired. They didn't drain me of my energy, right? So it took about 3 years for me to transition from dogs to cats, right? It took about 3 years to transition over. Yeah. So I can groom cats. I can groom 20 cats and still have the same energy at the end of the day. But every once in a while, I'll get a flare up, and it's the long hair full coated shampoo package cat clients that can over time can cause a flare up and cause even though it's a cat, there's a lot to a long haired cat, right? So there was a time when I actually sent away all of my long hair cat clients who were not on a regular basis, meaning they were coming in with their cats in full coat but not properly being maintained. So every grooming was one big coat restoration, dematting process, just all of that, and it would just wipe me out energetically, right? So anyway, and then my mother and my 2 great aunts and my brother, they're all dog groomers, right? None of them ever groom cats though. But yeah, I realized if I was going to continue with my grooming, something had to give. So it started with the large dogs. We got rid of the large dogs. We've heard them out elsewhere. And then the medium-sized dogs. And then the small dogs. And by that point, I was in this salon. Right? Up we go. You ready? Steady? Here we go. Ready, steady, here we go. He's like, what are we doing now, people? Ping pow pow. Anyone get to watch that other grooming that we just did with that beautiful white Maine Coon cat? Zuri, is anyone here that saw that? It was just so majestic. It was about this big. Right? It was about 2 of these. 2 Lokis would be the size of the Maine Coon that I just did. Alright, let's see your boots. Alright. We're a detailing shop for cats, meaning we're not a drive-through $10 car wash. We're actually a detailing shop for cats. Okay? This groomer scoop is going to restore these boots back to perfection, lift the yellowing, right? Pink Paw Paw I use on the head because it's so easy to rinse out. And you usually only have to wash the head and mane once when you use Pink Paw Paw. We need more chill cat-only groomers. Well, I guess with me, I really just didn't have a choice. I had to make the change, right? To go into cats, right? It was a do or die situation for me. Right? I guess I could go back and explain that a little bit more. I didn't have the ability to do anything else because I had a bout of meningitis, Lyme disease, right? And it wiped my memory, pretty much crippled me. When I came out of the hospital, nobody told me I would never be the same again. Nobody told me my memory was wiped. Nobody told me I would never be able to learn anything new. So the only thing I could fall back on was what I already knew, which was I was a bather in my aunt's grooming salon, right? I tried, but I had no retention. My brain did not have the capacity to retain anything, right? So I was stuck in a pretty weird situation, almost to the point where most people would probably throw themselves at the mercy of the state and start asking for an SSI check, right? Yeah. Well, I didn't do that. I found a way. That's what I did. I found a way. That's Loki. Born and bred for perfect temperament. He's about $3,000, right? Whoop. Oh, hey, Two Skulls. Thank you, Miss Mimi. Yeah. So cats really suit me. I guess it was destined. I was destined to be a cat groomer anyway, right? I don't know. Maybe I was just destined. Oh, thank you, Red. Yeah, we usually do about 3 or 4. What time is it? Yeah, so we have this one, and we're gonna do one more, and then the next one we're gonna go jump over to that other app, my favorite, right? Can anyone guess? His name is Loki. Can anyone guess what my favorite social media app is? Two Skulls, you know the answer. I just can't help myself when I get on that app. Yeah. They found a new buyer. Apparently Oracle bought it. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. Loki's about 7. Loki. You're not going to see any reaction from Loki. It's going to be the same throughout his entire grooming because he was born and bred this way. Like I said before, sometimes breeders can go a little bit too far to the left or to the right. I call some of these cats Stepford cats. Yeah. Do you know what RBF is? Your girl? Do you know what RBF stands for in cats? Anybody want to explain that to your girl? Yeah. Do you want to do the honors, Two Skulls, and explain what RBF means to your girl? Cat of the Corn. What a great movie that would be. I love it. Well, this guy was born here and bred here in America, right? Nobody answered your girl me. RBF means resting biatch face. That means when the cat's face is resting, they look like they're grumpy, right? But it's just an illusion, right? So there's a name for that. It's called RBF, right? Capiche? Capiche, capiche, right? Capiche, capiche. Yee. Wow. 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 Yeah. About $3,000 worth of designer breeding, right? He actually has papers that say he's a Persian, but when I first saw him, I thought he was a ragamuffin. He does not look like any Persian I know. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. He's different. He's like, I am? Yeah, you're a little... He's a little different. He's like, what do you mean by different? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's, different. It's not good or bad. Mm-hmm. Well, this cat... Yes. Why? Because he's just sitting here? I used to be a dog groomer, so just as many dogs hated their baths as cats. Just as many dogs loved their baths as cats. There was no difference. The only difference is when a cat doesn't like something, they have a much different reaction to when a dog doesn't like something. When a cat doesn't like something, they're a little bit more extreme, right? But I was a bather from the time I was getting out of school and going over to my mom's shop, right? I've been bathing for longer than you've been alive, right? And I know there is no difference. If a cat's going to react to you bathing them in a really negative way, it's not necessarily because they're reacting to water. They're reacting to your lack of techniques. Yeah, so we have, what, 300 videos on our page? Take a look at every single cat that's being washed, right? And you're going to realize that your statement is incorrect, right? Dislike or tolerate, what's the difference? Disliking something versus tolerating something, what's the difference? It's called chin acne, right? Chin acne. First thing your vet will say if your cat has chin acne is you gotta switch out from plastic bowls to something porcelain or stainless steel. That's the first thing they're gonna tell you, right? And then from there, they might give you a prescription for some cleaning pads with special ingredients to help treat that, right? It's not so easy to treat. Right? Oh, cool. Cool. Those same wipes I've seen on Amazon. Starts with an H. Hydrochloric. Is that it? It's probably not. Tweak it back. Doesn't sound right. I think hydrochloric is not the right word. Whoopsies. Well, yeah, don't use that. Oh my god. Eee. Don't be doing that, people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sweetie pie. Mm-hmm. Can you believe this cat is a Persian with papers? We're the cat snobs out there. You know the cat snobs, the ones that laugh at us because we don't know what breed or coloring the cat is. The temperament of a cat comes from their parents. So when you're a breeder, you're looking for a really good temperament mother and father so that they can pass that on to their children, right? It's kind of how that works. If you have a breeder breeding a cat with a nasty temperament, that is an unethical breeder, right? That cat might have a nasty temperament but be absolutely gorgeous, and so they're probably going to use that cat to make beautiful babies. But what happens is those babies inherit the temperament, sometimes, of their nasty parent, right? It's not a learned behavior. You think temperament is learned? It can be. Isn't that the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath? Yeah. Psychopaths are born with it. Sociopaths acquire it, I guess. I think is how it goes. I'm not sure. But, yeah. Any temperament a cat has comes directly from their parents, right? Now, I'm going to put a little happy hoodie on and walk a walk. Final finishing shampoo. Alright, so the first shampoo is the degreasing shampoo. That's a combination of F&T and Filthy Beast. Right? That is the dynamic duo for degreasing the cat. F&T doesn't have a whole lot of lathering power, so I usually add something to the F&T to get it to boost better. And Filthy Beast is pretty amazing. Right? They just work so well together. And the second shampoo is another dynamic duo. It's going to be the La Pooch Puppy with an unscented Chubb's bar. Yeah, we don't want to use a scented Chubb's bar because we don't want to interfere with the beautiful La Pooch Puppy fragrance, right? That's why we use unscented Chubb's bars. So we're not interfering with the scent that we want to use, right? Sorry, I have my earbuds out right now. So, you're basically talking amongst yourselves right now. And if you're trying to get a hold of me, my earbuds are out right now. So, excuse me for uno momento. Alright, done. I'm done. You look and smell marvelous. There we go. There and back. Anyone scared about the snow coming? They've really tried hard to make sure we're all scared, right? Anyone scared? Where are you going? He's like, I'm falling. Alright, Get your soap ring around your neck. Make sure there's nothing there. You did it. You did it. All right, towel out. Ready, steady. Here we go. Screenshot coming in 3, 2, 1. I did it, Ma. I did it. Like I said before, he's a one-note pony. You're not gonna see any reaction. It's all one note. This guy. Because he's a Stepford cat. Alright, let's heat up the dryer box. Heat up the dryer box. No, he's a Stepford. He was bred this way. Three weeks ago. I thought it was coming from Texas. I don't watch the news, but I thought the snow was coming from. No, he was born and bred this way. For $3,000 you can get that same temperament, beauty, right? In my opinion, he's a little bit too Stepford, right? But see, I don't know how he is at home. Here, you're only going to see one note. Right? Yeah, $3,000 worth of special, right? $3,000 worth of special. What? With the same thing? Yep, for $3,000, you too can have a Stepford cat, right? I don't like breeders who breed too much out of the cat. I don't like it. He's beautiful. And he might have a personality at home. I just don't see it here, right? Alright, ears are done. I got a crush on you, sweetie pie. Alright, let's blow out his boots. We could. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would be a whoopsies or by accident, but yeah. In theory, I would say you could. But was that bred or was that cat? Did he acquire that personality based on, you know, circumstances, his environment, right? Isn't that the difference between a socio and a psycho? A socio acquires it, whereas a psycho is born with it, right? I think that's how that goes. I could be mistaken. I think that's what I thought. Alright, let's blow out his boots. Put a small extra small happy hoodie with a large, and then that large you can pull back. So for 2 happy hoodies you get triple protection, right? What are my thoughts about it? I think it's a wonderful thing. Like, why would there be a problem with spraying and neutering your animals? You know what happens if you don't spay your male cat? The smell is just ridiculous. Just for the smell alone, you should be neutering your male cat, right? Yeah, that horrific smell that's coming from your male cat, that kind of goes away after you neuter it. FYI, in case you didn't know, right? Yep, he's a designer baby. Really strong and gaming. I struggle with the concept that there's humans like you out there, right? Who don't know where the line is, who don't know where the boundaries are, right? Yeah. Just FYI, my biggest problem is humans who don't know where their boundaries are, right? Yeah, that's my biggest issue. People like that don't know where their boundaries are, right? Tools be gone. Sorry. While that dryer was on, I can't respond to anything you guys are saying, but once that's off, yeah, we're gonna put them in there just for a little bit of downtime. You know, you all need to understand where your boundaries are, right? All you flat earthers who don't believe in cat grooming, it's like the equivalent of a vegan who's going to make sure that nobody on this planet is allowed to eat meat because that's their opinion about things, right? You need to understand where your boundaries are, right? Not everybody is you. Not everybody shares the same beliefs or opinions as you. You know what makes America great? Options. Options. What kind of shoes you want, what kind of clothes you want, what kind of car you want, what kind of cat you want, how you want to keep your cat. Options. America. Freedom of choice, right? Can we get with the program, people? There is no one size fits all. If you're a vegan, great. You want to make everyone else, you want to punish everyone else for eating meat because you're a vegan? Know your boundaries, bitch. Know your boundaries, right? Not everyone shares the same belief system as you, right? I want you to park your ass outside a dog grooming salon and start yelling at the dog owners for putting their dogs in haircuts. Why? Because what? They're a lazy human. Is that one of the narratives? It defies nature. They can't regulate their body heat. Really? Dog grooming is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Yet, dogs are put in haircuts all the time. Same as cats. But yet you have a problem with it. Yeah. When you start making it everyone else's problem, that's when it's a problem. Right? That's when it becomes a problem. You wanted to make, it's almost like religion, right? Almost the equivalent of religion. Oh, you're not a Christian? Oh, okay. We're no longer associating with you. Okay. Same God. There's only one, right? But downtime for Loki. He's getting the Velvet Lion. The Velvet is my 7F Wall Competition Series blade. You see those ridges? That's what makes it so cool. It works a lot better on cats. It is the forbidden blade. Dog groomers aren't allowed to use that. If they work at a salon and they're working under a boss, they're not allowed to use that blade. So don't get it in your head that you're going to just order one online and think that you're going to use it without putting your cat in the ER, right? This is only to be used by professionals with a high safety rate and who understand their skill set and who understand what they're doing, right? Which would be me. I have a very high safety record in my salon, right? I know my skill set, right? I know my skill set, and I happen to be grooming cats at low stress levels, which is a requirement and a bottom line for my salon, right? Which makes my salon a little different, right? Because our bottom line is that every cat is groomed at low stress levels. 75% of the time it's through techniques. If we can't find the right technique for that cat and we're not sure how to make it better for that cat, we will ask the owner to try a pre-treatment, right? So 1 out of 4 cat clients who comes to our salon, so that's 25% of them, their owners are going to help them. We call them either GABA babies or special needs babies or 324 babies, right? And once they get that from their owners, then they're able to be groomed at low stress levels. 75% of the time, our clients don't need a pre-treatment. You know, 75% of the time. That's a very high success rate, right? Just FYI. 75% success rate in anything is a very high success rate, right? Very high. Like I said before, you're not going to see a note him expressing anything other than that, right? Throughout his grooming. Why? He's a Stepford cat, right? What does that mean? Well, I refer to Stepford cats as cats who come from a breeder who was bred too far to the left or too far to the right, and they've gone out of their way to make the cat extremely perfect, which then does what? Diminishes their personality, right? AKA Stepford cat. We have no translation button on YouTube, so we have no way of knowing what you're saying, right? Alright, so the next live is going to be a Persian getting a modified line cut, but instead of leaving the mane, they're going to get a tiger head, and then their add-on service is called Perfect Paws, and we're going to do that one next. And then the one after that, we're going to jump over to Ticky Yucky. We all know what the code name of that means. We're going to jump over to Ticky Yucky and do a live there for the last one of the day before Snowmageddon hits, right? Does anyone have an ETA of when the Snowmageddon is supposed to hit the East Coast of America? Anybody? It's supposed to be tonight, right? It's supposed to be tonight, right? There. Alright, so we're just getting... I'm going to do his cat carrier felloway. We do the felloway as the cat's coming, 15 minutes over in that little cat corner over there. They stay there with 15 minutes of felloway on a blanket, and that's how they arrive. And then this is how they're leaving. This is a form of communication. It's communicating to the cat that everything is safe. They're going to be fine. They're safe, right? That's what that's communicating. You see what I just got? 2 skulls. Are you there? What I got? What are the chances that I'm going to be able to use this? Alright, so the paws, and then the tail goes there, right? it's for dogs or cats, right? What are the chances that I'm going to use this? I grabbed it because I thought, hey, that looks like it could be a technique, right? For cats who don't like their arms being put in the lion boots, what are the chances? This might actually be a technique for one cat. Even if it's just going to help one cat, yeah, doesn't matter. If it's useful and it helps one cat, yeah, then we have another technique. The more techniques you can grab and put in your cat bag of tricks, the better off you will be as a cat groomer. The more techniques you know, the more you're going to be able to help cats, right? You at home, you only need to learn the techniques that are going to help your one cat or whatever cats you have at home. Here at a cat grooming salon, we need to be able to accommodate every cat that walks through that door. So you need to collect as many techniques as possible. If you're going to advertise cat grooming services, you need to know at least 100 techniques in your cat grooming bag, not that one technique to just scruff the cat, which isn't even a technique. For over 75% of the cat grooming the cat population, it's not even a technique, right? So, yeah, some groomers out there, they're advertising cat grooming services and they only know one technique. Yeah, that's bad people. Absolutely. I used to groom a 30-pound Maine Coon. Thought I was his personal punching bag. And he didn't just punch, he would scratch. Bam, 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 right? 3 years into grooming him, I was trying to get a photo of him kissing a lion, so I sprayed some catnip on the nose of the lion so I could get that, cat coming up to sniffing the nose of the lion, and then you see them kissing, like kissing the Blarney Stone of the lion. I wanted that shot, right? That cat with catnip was a whole different cat. I became his best friend. I became his new BFF, right? 3 years in. Do you think that I'm going to use catnip as a technique for helping to groom any cat? No. You're going to be spraying with Feline, but catnip? No. So ever since then, I knew that, and I put that on his grooming notes, that he needed catnip. And that changed everything. And he became my friend and stopped using me as his personal punching bag, right? So you just never know what technique is going to work for each cat, right? Waka, 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 waka. He's like, are we there yet? Almost. 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 All right, let's get nice angle. There. There. All right, so velvet lion, half a mane, lion tail is the service request, right? That sounds like a psychologist. David, what do you do for a living? You wouldn't happen to be a psych, would you? Psychoanalyst. I know a lot of them like to hop on my page and study how my brain works. It's all a mystery. I can't quite figure it out. I take care of people with intellectual disabilities. Gotcha. That's awesome. Mm. Well, that's primal. Mm. You look marvelous. He's like, I do. Be a bird. Gotcha. You know, back in the day, you might find this interesting. Here, how far back are we going? 90, 87, 90. So back in 1990, right? I was in Ireland, right? Here's a strange factoid that you may or may not be aware of. Back in 1990, all of the disabled children of Ireland are hidden. They're hidden in their homes. You don't see them in public. And their idea of working with intellectually challenged children is to warehouse them all in under one roof, right? Oh, we have someone here. Uh, one, one of those was called Ben and Casa, right? That was one of them. And under that one roof was everything. Mongoloidism, um, special needs, ADHD, all of them, right? Everything was under one roof. Anyway, there's someone knocking. It's called out. Give me a second to let them in. Just make it make sense, people. The appointment is in 10 minutes, but the owner is here knocking on the door, trying to interrupt this person's private grooming appointment. To do what? To let me know he's here. But there were no cats at the door. No, he was just here to let me know he was here. And now he's going to go get his cats. I'm back and I am decompressing. Okay. I got a crush on you, sweetie pie. Wow. Alright, and we're back. Thanks, David. Yeah, absolutely. Come back again. The water's great. We go live Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday through Sunday, in case you didn't know. Alrighty? Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Alright. So I have 10 minutes to do his final finishings, right? Oh, thank you. Yeah, all I need is about... That's awesome. I'm always amazed at some of these households. You know, cats will start to absorb what's happening in the household, and they tend to take on certain personality traits of the owners as well. You ever hear that saying, the dog starts to look like the owner, and vice versa? Well, the same applies to cats. And when you have a good person in a good household, and they have multiple cats, the odds of all of them being good, yeah, that's a testimony to you being a good person, in my opinion, right? That's just how I feel about it, right? Sorry. So anyway, I just needed 10 minutes to finish this cat. But what? I get a knock. Even though there's a doorbell, I get a knock. I'm not necessarily going to hear a knock in the middle of a live grooming a cat using grooming tools, right? Go to the door, interrupt this grooming. To do what? For the owner to say, I'm here. Okay? It's not your appointment yet, but you're here. Okay, where are your cats? Oh, they're still in the car. Okay? You know, sometimes it's hard for me to make things like that make sense, because it's, you know, I'm spending my entire day diligently trying to make everything make sense when it comes to cat grooming. And then you have something like that happen, and it's like throwing a wrench in an engine, right? And your brain just wants to implode because it doesn't make any sense, right? To me, it just doesn't. No offense to my clients, but for me personally, it just doesn't make any sense, right? It just doesn't make sense to me, that's all. That's all. And his reason for that, he didn't want to take his cats up to my salon and have to wait in the cold outside. I'm sorry, you have a phone, right? You have a phone, so you could be in your car, toasty warm, right? And just make a phone call or a text to let me know you're here. And then you only have to do one trip up, because it's just, there's those stairs to get up here, right? I live on the balcony here is the second floor of a shopping center, right? So now my whole brain is a wackadoodle trying to make sense out of what just happened, right? But it is what it is. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go, people. Somebody think of something to talk about. I can let it go. Anybody, pick a subject. We were talking about special needs children in Ireland. They are not out in the open. We were talking to David about that. Special needs children in Ireland are hidden behind closed doors. There's no at the time, 1990, there were no special ed courses, or there wasn't special ed available in the normal public school system. Their idea of handling a special needs child was to keep him in a separate room by himself and give him some crayons to color. That was the extent of their special needs. And isolate him from everybody else. Don't get me started. Don't get me started, people. So that's all I needed. 10 minutes to finish him up, right? That's all I needed. I've got a crush on you, lady pie. Da 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 da, da 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 da, This is where he's usually in a bed. They were too stunned to speak. What happened? Where's everybody? Why is nobody talking? What happened? What's going on? What's happening, people? What about it? Yeah. Yipper. It was his wife who took his pieces of artwork, and was it his wife or his sister? It was his sister, right? Sister or wife? I forgot. So apparently Van Gogh's brother suffered the same kind of mental well, a lot of people pick up a brush instead of a comb. They don't realize that, it's important to use a comb for cats. I always say brushing is for dogs, combing is for cats, but that's not exactly true. There are brushes that are used for cat grooming, but 90% of the tools are combs, right? For dogs, 90% of the tools are brushes, and 10% is for, I would say, for combs, right? So learning how to use a comb, right? Learning how to do a 1-minute fire drill. Do you know what that is? So that's what I teach all of my clients who have long hair cats, right? I say you want to learn how to do the 1-minute fire drill. And you want to get yourself a nice comb. I recommend the piano. This is listed in my link, themainlion.live, which is on the page here on YouTube. You scroll down and go down and get the piano comb. And what you want to do is learn how to do a 1-minute fire drill, which is to take your finishing comb and get it through every square inch of your cat's coat in less than 1 minute. So you're not turning it into a long, drawn-out procedure, right? And you're going to time it and learn how to do that 1-minute fire drill and get that coat through every square inch of your cat, right? And then associate a high reward treat with that 1-minute fire drill, right? And that would be the best thing I could advise you to do, is learn how to do the 1-minute fire drill, right? Just get that coat all the way through your cut. A comb is not going to take any prisoners, or how do I say that? Saying it's going to go through the coat without allowing any matting to develop. Brushing can tend to go over any matting, whereas a comb goes straight through it, right? Capiche? Capiche. Alright, we're there. We did it. Alright, so we have one more live on this app that we're going to do in a little bit. The cat is receiving 15 minutes of downtime with Feline first before we get started. And then that cat is going to get the full Tigon. What that means is a lion cut with a lion tail with a tiger head instead of the mane of a lion, right? And then they want perfect paws, so that's an add-on service. Perfect paws. Perfect paws means you're... Oh! Yes. Hairdressers would make the best cat groomers. Yeah. And it's a great side hustle. FYI. Anywho, so the next cat is going to be a full Tigon, perfect paws. And they want one extra add-on, which is to tame the boots. They don't want them natural. So how do I tame the boots? I refer to that as the Persian lion when you're taming the boots. Some groomers are just going to automatically do that, most likely if they're a dog groomer, because they're used to, you know, trimming everything back and manicuring everything. I'm going to use a pair of chunkers. I'm just going to boom, 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 make sure it's all even and manicured all over and with a perfect paws, right? And that's what the next cat is getting. I hope you can join us. We'll be going live in the next 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll talk to you. Shadow? Wait, is that my friend Shadow? Hold on. Let me see. Shadow? Hello? I know a Shadow. Shadow Official. I can't get to your page. Alright, so the Shadow I know is a white cat from Malaysia. If that's you, hey. If it's not, hey. Alright, we'll see you next time. Bye! Oh, do you have any questions? Do you need the 360? I always forget to do the 360 of the Groom. The 360. Do you need the 360? We're gonna fluff off all of his fuzz bunnies, right? We do that at the very end. Our little fluffer. Got to do his powder. There we go. Alright, so that is the pink pawpaw cornstarch. That's a little tiny one with a little diamond. These are the brushes you get at the dollar store, right? And alright, see you next time. Bye.